Hello and welcome to the BMR's Women's Day special. Here we have with us Minal Srivastava. Hello ma'am.
Hi.
First of all, I would like to know about yourself and your success story.
I have around 20 years of work experience. I have had exposure to various categories and been primarily working in marketing as a space, and that's how it's been.
As you had looked after the internal and external communication in your career, what role communication plays?
For me, I think communication is very critical because it's part of my job as well, But even if it is not something that is in your defined role, because eventually, what do you end up doing in a normal job? You end up convincing people. You end up connecting with people, and that can be your peer, that can be your partner, that can be your vendor, that can be you understanding a consumer or your boss or your management or your board. It is a loop where everything boils down to being sure on what you want to say and then learning the trick to really understand how to say it. If you put your focus and energy behind anything, you will get it. My biggest challenge has been figuring what I want. And what I want at one particular point in time, because what I want now is not what I'll want 10 years down the line, right?
How challenging it is for you to work in a corporate world?
As a woman, you find it challenging because what you know of yourself and what you accept of yourself doesn't fit into the definition of what the corporate expects you to be. Right? So that for me has been my biggest challenge, to be true to yourself. Challenge is not from the corporate space. I think the challenge has been more internal. And and it's taken me a while. It's taken me 20 years to be where I am too, which is essentially being very secure in knowing who you are, and I think standing by that. There was a point in my career where I was handling a role which needed a lot of conventional masculine way of doing things, right? And it needed a bit of strength at my end to refuse to do that, and then carve something which was very intrinsically me. It was essentially more feminine maybe, but because that is what I am, right? So it took me some time to accept it. It took me some time to say that, okay, fine, I don't have to be a mirror image of somebody else, which is not me.
You can make your own identity and own definition of a leader. How important it's for women to be working for herself and for country?
It's not about working or not working. I think it's finding the right format of work that works for you. It's finding the right set of people around you that works for you. It's about finding the right kind of work that works for you. So if anything is making you miserable and unhappy, then yes, please step away from it. But don't take it as a decision between yes or no. There's a thin line dividing, and there's something that exists which is between the yes and no. Can either work or not work along with family. Maybe that format of work is not working for you. Maybe that organization is not working for you. Maybe that manager is not working for you. Maybe the kind of work that you're doing is not working for you. So figure that out first. There are quite a few things that people can do which you're still doing, thinking that if I do this, I'll make the other person happy. But is it making you happy? Push yourself a bit ahead of that line.
So how do you manage your work-life balance?
I love what I do. I love working. And honestly, I've reached that stage where I've been working for 20 years. I can't think of myself as any other format of life, right? I have to work. But there will be moments and there will be days when work will be extremely overwhelming. You will get tired, you will get exhausted physically. But then there will be days when you would, be spending the time with your child, with your family, with your parents, and probably try and invest yourself in there. Now I think I have a 10-year-old child. It becomes a bit more important because I need to know what is he thinking, because he's not that thing who is in my stomach, and everything is connected, right? He is a different person and he's shaping into somebody that I need to know, and he's getting influenced by so many other things which is just not me now. A few years earlier it was still easy because it's just me and him, and he's just listening from me. Now he has his friends, he has content that he's seeing, he has his school, so I want to invest that 1 hour. In that 1 hour, maybe I'm not accessible to anybody else and anything else. But beyond that, I will carve out time which is for either work or my learning, personal learning, growth. I think again, as human beings, we've learned to probably exist in the grays. There will be moments where it'll get overwhelming. There will be moments where you'll be happy with the balance that probably you have in your life.
So if I ask you, as you worked in many companies with different profiles, right? So was it a planning, or you just go with the flow and grab the opportunities that comes in your way?
I don't think anything in my life has been deeply or thoroughly planned. I have been pretty instinctive about a lot of decisions that I've taken, and process of elimination. So like I said, I've always known what I don't want. And when I remove the don't wants, then there's a couple of options in your hand, and then you instinctively, that's how a lot of my jobs happen for me. So there are a couple of ways in which you can evaluate what you want to do or where you want to be. And like I said, that might change basis where you are as a person and your life cycle, Like what I want from my career now is not what I wanted from my career 10 years earlier. Now I think it's become easier for me to take decisions. The lens that I look through that decision is, whether it's A, making me happy, and that's very, very critical. And B, whether it's helping me grow as a person. Now after 20 years become a bit easier to evaluate, because what makes me happy I know now.
So on the occasion of the Women's Day, what message would you like to convey to the women out there, especially those who belongs to Tier 2 and Tier 2 cities?
I always feel that I'm a small towner at heart. Because after 20 years, I still crave for that sort of life. I had no understanding of what working meant, what a career meant, because in and around me, the format of career was very different, For example, my mom has been working. She retired as a professor. The choice was not made by her. The choice was made by her family, saying that this is the sort of work that you can do with your family. You can take care of the family, and despite that, you can also work. So so it fits you. And I can't tell you how many times I was told that choose something that makes it easier for you to work, and have a normal semblance of a life. Now, what a normal semblance of a life meant, I didn't know, but I somehow felt that that is what is expected, that's what I'm supposed to do. So I'm supposed to make my choices basis keeping these parameters in mind. And I was relatively good in my academics, so I was told saying that, okay, fine, you can become a doctor, but and why I rebelled against it is because it was pitched to me saying that, because you get flexibility of time, in the sense you can work from home. And I did not evaluate those options just because I didn't want to follow what was being prescribed to me, right? So my decision taking, I would say, was not very intelligent, or I think it was just that teenagerish rebellion. But I would not recommend anybody to do that. I would, and I think now the world, 20 years down the line, the world is very, very different, Now you have access to people, Internet is such a huge equalizer, in the sense that wherever you might be in, whichever part of the country, and if you have access to internet, you can reach out to people, you can have a conversation, you can have mentors, you have access to work that people are doing. And now I think women have more information in their hands. How you use that information is obviously critical, And like I said again, depends on understanding who you are. Most critical thing.
Nice talking to you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.